Good morning, brothers and sisters. I am blessed and highly favored. All glory and praise be to my Father God, who is ahead of everything in my life and especially my marriage. Now, with that being said, what I am going to be speaking about on this morning is concerning married life. Concerning married life. And I am going to be reading out of the book of First Corinthians chapter 7 verse 16, and this is written by Saint Paul the Apostle, and this is one of his epistles, one of his letters, you know, um, on marriage, and it reads, "Now for the matters you wrote about. It is good for a man not to have sexual relations with a woman, but since sexual immortality is occurring, each man should have sexual relations with his own wife, and each woman with her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. In the same way, the husband does not have authority over his own body, but yields it to his wife. Do not deprive each other except perhaps by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer, like husband and wife, coming together and spending time with one another and the Lord in prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you. Because of your lack of self control, I say this as a concision, not as a command." And this is Paul speaking, by the way, in this text. "I wish that all of you were as I am, but each of you has your own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. Now to the unmarried and the widows," and this is St. Paul the Apostle still speaking, "it is good for them to stay unmarried as I do. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry. For it is better to marry than to burn. It is better to marry than to burn with passion." So if you want to, you know, spend eternity in hell, that's your, you know, um, that's your choice. To the married, now he just spoke on the unmarried. Now he is speaking on the married folks, just like myself. "I give this command, not I," Paul say, "but the Lord. As all right, a wife must not separate from her husband, but if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband, and a husband must not divorce his wife." Now that text right there in verse 10 and 11 is questionable, and the reason why I say that is because I wouldn't recommend anyone, male and female, to stay in verbal abuse, marriage or a physical, abuse marriage. Especially if y'all have kids. Um, that's not healthy for the marriage. Like me and my wife is coming up on 2 years of marriage. Glory be to God. So and two, not 3 more months. So we is coming up on yeah. So yeah, but I don't recommend no one to be in especially if it's like adultery going on, cheating and all that stuff like that. Secrecy, lying on one another, calling the cops on one another, lying to one another, stealing from one another, all that, nonsense. So, okay, where I was, must not divorce his wife. To the rest, I say this. All right. It's like if any brother has a wife who is not a believer and she is willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who is not a believer and he is willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise, your children would be unclean, but as it is, they are holy. But if the unbeliever leaves, let it be so. The brother or the sister is not bound in such circumstances. God has called us to live in peace. How do you know, wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, husband, whether you will save your wife? You know? And of course, I know I am in my NIV study Bible that my wife has purchased two of these from off of Amazon for both of us. Okay, now let's go down in the study section and read some of that. All right, this is verse 1. It say the Corinthians had written to Paul asking him several questions relating to the Christian life and problems in the church. The first question was about the pros and cons of considering marriage. Paul answered this and other questions in the remember of this letter. Okay. Now here go verse 4. Spirituality, our bodies belong to God. When we become Christians, because Jesus Christ brought us by paying the price to release us from sin. Physically, our bodies belong to our spouses, because God designed marriage so that through the union of husband and wife, the two become one. Paul stressed complete equally in sexual relationships. Neither male nor female should seek dominions or autonomy. Autonomy. And here go chapter 7 verse 7. Both marriage and singleness are gifts from God. One is not morally better than the other, and both are viable to accomplishing God's purpose. It is important for each of us, therefore, to value our present situation. When Paul said he wished that all people were like him, unmarried, he was expressing his desire that more people would devote themselves completely to ministry without the added concerns of a spouse and family. As he had done, he was not criticizing marriage. After all, it is God created way of providing companionship and populating the earth. You know, that is what marriage for. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's a lot of unmarried folk, having a lot of kids, from different, um, women, and these females, from a lot of different dudes, because it goes hand in hand. Females, they out here, doing what they doing, and these dudes out here doing what they doing, having kids all over the place, and not being a father figure and everything like that. And because both of them play a hand in evilness. So that does it for this video. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Don't forget to thumbs the video up, subscribe to the channel if y'all like to comment on the video, and and share the videos and everything like that with people that are believers or not believers, that enjoy this type of content that I bring. So God 365 nonstop, just peace music ENT. I catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Yeah.